everyone. It's really gloomy today, and so my lighting looks very dark even though I've got the ring light on, so apologies for that. But hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Spooky Sunday video. Today's video is a bit of an interesting one, but before we get into it, I just want to say these are theories that I found on the internet. This is not factual, this is all speculation. I need to put that out there, okay? I'm just compiling the information and presenting it to everybody for entertainment purposes. I also just want to say that this is filmed on the 24th of May, so from that date forwards things may have changed. There may be more court proceedings, maybe more information out from the 24th of May, because obviously I'll be posting this on a different date. So if there is, apologies for that. But I'm still going to upload this video because I feel like everybody will find it interesting and entertaining. But yeah, just an extra little disclaimer that this video was filmed on the 24th of May. But without further ado, let's get into today's video, which is the theories about baby reindeer so far. Okay, so the first theory is really interesting, and it's one that I'm sort of swaying towards, and it was something that I hadn't heard of before, so I'm really excited to share it with you, and hopefully I can get some of your opinions and you can tell me what you're thinking down below. Okay, so the interesting first theory that I have for you is called "It's a True Story for Donnie." Now, I need to explain this in the best way that I possibly can, and I am going to have some help from some other YouTubers, and I'm going to get them to help me explain it as well, through presenting you with some of their content. But the theory goes as follows. Donnie is a fictional character, and at the beginning of the show he types "This is a true story," and the idea of this theory is that it's Donnie saying that this is a true story, not Richard Gadd or Netflix. Now at the end of the show, Donnie starts to write a story up, and maybe this is like a loop. Have you ever watched those TikToks before where they're looped and you don't know where it starts and ends, and then before you know it you've watched it like 60 times by accident because it's on a constant loop? What if this is the same thing, where it ends on him writing up his story and it also starts on him writing up his story, and obviously he's typing out "This is a true story." So the thoughts and opinions that are from the other YouTubers I will insert, but they basically said that this could be a true story for Donnie, and Donnie's writing up like "This is a true story, blah blah blah, this really happened, blah blah blah," and then at the end of the TV show they've put "This is fictionalized, blah blah blah." Don't know if you know that, but Netflix did add a thing at the end of the show that said that it was fictionalized, so they're covering their backs that way. So Donnie is saying that this thing that happened with him with Martha is a true story. This definitely 100% happened, but Richard Gadd and Netflix aren't saying that. And I don't know if I'm able to explain this in the best way possible, so I'm going to insert a clip now that explains it a little bit better than me, and then I'll come back with my thoughts and opinions.
I'm going to pass you over to a man called Planet Bramley, who basically summed up what I had in my head already far better than I could put it into words. So here's what he said, because when you think of it this way, everybody might be looking at this wrong.
I've been thinking a bit more about baby reindeer, I just can't leave it alone, and I've got a theory I would like to share. So a lot of controversy surrounding the series is about 5 words that appear on the screen at the beginning of the first episode. And based on these 5 words, the series has been accused of making defamatory allegations and telling lies. So at the beginning of the first episode, after one short introductory scene, a caption is typed onto the screen which reads, "This is a true story."
Yeah.
And many have taken that statement literally at its word, which is understandable because it's the beginning of the series. We don't know where it's heading. In the credits, at the very end of each episode, the following statement is clearly made. "This programme is based on real events. However, certain characters, names, incidents, locations and dialogue have been fictionalised for dramatic purposes." So is this a contradiction? Well, it's very significant that the words "This is a true story" appear on the screen as if they were being typed. There's the sound of tapping keys on a keyboard, and the caption appears one letter at a time. So the central character, Donnie, narrates throughout the whole series with a voiceover, so we get a very clear sense of someone telling us their story in the first person. In the final episode, after the character Martha pleads guilty to 3 charges of harassment, is sentenced to 9 months in prison, and issued with a 5-year restraining order, Donnie sits down in front of his laptop and sees the police timeline of events that he had to submit as evidence. And it's in that moment that the character gets the idea to write his story. And there are clear shots of his fingers typing on the keyboard, the same keyboard, presumably, that he goes on to title "This is a True Story." And on a blank page he writes, "I felt sorry for her, that's the first thing I felt." So we understand from that he's beginning to write the story that we've just seen over the previous 7 episodes. It was a true story for Donnie, and Donnie is a fictional character. So my theory then is that "This is a true story" typed up on the screen is the beginning of the story that Donnie has written. It's a storytelling convention, it's part of the narration, and not a statement that the actual series is claiming. If it was, then a statement defending fictionalisation for dramatic purposes wouldn't be necessary. If there was a show about an egg named Humpty Dumpty, and it began with Humpty Dumpty saying, "This is a true story. I was sitting on a wall minding my own business." And at the end of the story, when we see Humpty Dumpty completely broken and covered in yolk, he sits down to write his story, and to the character of Humpty Dumpty, the story is absolutely true. King's horses, everything. But we know that we've just participated in a fiction, and just in case we didn't, there's a statement at the end telling us that while Humpty Dumpty is based on a real person, we changed him into an egg for dramatic purposes. I guess this is a convention that's obviously confused some of its audience. Maybe it's a clumsy one. Maybe if Netflix could have anticipated the consequences, they might have not used those 5 words at the beginning. Fortunately, they've created controversy and could potentially lead to lawsuits, although I'm not sure how much foundation any of those protests would have in court. The statement at the end seems to cover it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
So that is the little clip about their thoughts and opinions. So does that make a little bit more sense? I feel like this could really be what may have happened. I feel like it's a very real possibility that Netflix are going to come out and say, yes, we said it was a true story, but it wasn't us, it was Donnie. It's Donnie's true story and not Richard Gadd's. I feel like they may use that in their defense, or maybe that's actually what it was and we've just all misinterpreted the whole thing. Maybe it was psychological, maybe it was supposed to make us think that it's a whole true story, but really it was just Donnie writing it. So I feel like it's a really interesting theory and I really wanted to share it with you guys. I think that theory actually inspired me to make this video. Let me know what you think down below and I will get into the next theories. The next theory is that Fiona has a different last name. So I slightly heard about this from a few different creators talking about stuff online. One of them said that she had a nephew and that the nephew came out and said that she was a liar and he actually had a different last name and stated that she also had a different last name. So what if Fiona has a different last name and that is why they can't find a criminal record of her going to jail? That's the theory overall. But I'm going to give my 2 cents and I don't know if I believe this one. Although it's an interesting theory, I just find it really hard to believe that if she had a different last name that no one in the world would have found out by now that she had a different last name and then found the criminal record. I feel like someone would have found it. There's no way that not one singular person in the entire world has managed, not to find out whether she had a criminal record or not. You know what I mean? Like, if she has one, it's there, whether she has a different last name or not. If she did have a different last name, someone would have found it out. So I'm just very confused about this whole situation and I'm really excited to finally see what happens and comes of it because it's honestly insane. Crazy story. But I don't believe in this theory. I don't think that she has a different last name, but I do think it's an interesting one to put out there. And then the last theory that I have is that Richard Gadd lied. So the theory is that Richard Gadd basically lied about parts of the show to gain fame and money. This is something a few creators are pushing and obviously something that Piers Morgan is kind of pushing as well. Piers Morgan kind of stays on the fence with the whole situation, but I do think he's slightly leaning towards Fiona a little bit and sort of fighting for some justice for Fiona, I guess. And he also is very adamant that if there was a criminal record, that someone would have found it. Someone would have found it. Someone has ways to look at records in this world. There has to be. And it just feels very odd to me that not one person has been able to find it. And I think Piers Morgan also kind of speaks about that as well on his Piers Morgan Uncensored YouTube show. So that's sort of where quite a lot of narratives are going, is that maybe Richard Gadd lied to make the show more dramatic, to make it blow up more, get more money, things like that. I have some little facts to end the video off with. These aren't theories, these again are just little tidbits, I suppose. Number one is that Netflix did actually say that it was a fictionalized show. They put it at the very end of the show. They basically said that it was based on a true story in different words. But then I guess, me personally, I'm believing that that was put there to make sense of the first bit where Donnie was saying this is a true story. Basically in his world, in his fictionalized world, it's a true story. And they've put that there to help the viewers not feel confused. But then other people will just say that they put it there after people have already watched the show and reeled people in and no one's really going to read it. So I guess everybody's kind of split on that one. And the last little bit of information I have for you guys is that from the time of filming, which like I said is the 24th of May, Fiona has come out and said that she is suing Netflix and Richard Gadd. She says that she has a team of lawyers now and that they're also taking it to America. This was spoken about in Piers Morgan's most recent video about Fiona Harvey on his YouTube show. And she also put out a statement telling people to stop contacting her and that's really affecting her mental health. People are messaging her, journalists are messaging her and asking her for statements and stuff, and she's asked for people to stop doing that. So that is sort of the information that I have up until this point. Obviously by the time this video goes out there may be more information. Maybe she's already taken them to court by the time this video goes out, who knows. But I thought this would be an interesting video to film. Hopefully you guys liked it. Let me know which of the theories you're kind of leaning towards, and like I said, I feel like I'm leaning towards theory number 1. I guess time will tell. And again, I just want to reiterate that this is speculation, these are theories, none of this is factual, this is just for entertainment purposes. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you all liked it. Thank you for joining me on this little interesting theorizing video. And until next time, I'll see you all soon. Bye.